The process of telling a story helps us to learn of others and find understanding and empathy as we seek to live in harmony with each other and work in such a manner that we leave this island better than how we found it. Whether we actually know the individual or not, learning of their story evokes feelings within us. This is my community. I'm Sherwood McCaskey. Thanks for joining. This week, our focus will be on a number of communities in the northern section of the parish of St. Peter. The story will be carried by one of its proud sons. As Haynesley Benn places his communities in perspective, he gives a sense of that time period when he was welcomed into this special space.
I was born many years ago. I was 1949 model, January the 19th, so I'm 74 years old now. But I grew up and I used to live in a place called Rose Hill, which is just next to Benn Hill. And we grew up as boys, and then in 1955 we moved from in the back down to the front road. And then in 74 I built a house in Benn Hill, which is on the other side. But as boys growing up, we lived like normal lives. We had lots of houses around us, and nearly everybody that lived there worked in the fields. You know, they have around around Benn Hill, Rose Hill, Manacorda, Ashton Hall, Maynard, there are a number of plantations. There is my father and mother work at Ebreth. My brother worked at Pleasant Hall. Then there was the castle up the road, Welchtown, Fort Hill. Across the road, further across is Orange Hill Plantation, Fort Hill Plantation. Then there's the Allendale Plantation, Castle Plantation, Portland right there. Remember Portland? And as you come down past, you got Maynard's Plantation, and then Mount Breverton Plantation. So there were a number of plantations that the laborers around there worked. Around there, we had 3 sugar factories. We had Hayman Sugar Factory, Fairfield in St. Lucie, and Spring Hall in St. Lucie. So all the plantations in St. Peter and St. Lucie would go as far as, with the ones in St. Peter would go to Hayman's mainly, but the estates, during the crop season, we would go into Spring Hall and Fairfield. We had a lot of good times during the crop season because our parents worked in the crop, and we will go in the crop in there, like in the vacation coming up now at Easter time. We will, as boys, we will have to carry up our parents' food in the field. And while the old man sitting down and eating, and my mother eating, we will be cutting cane or tying canes for them until they finish eating and they come back and take over. And that was an exciting time. As far as the factories are concerned, at night we will journey over to Hayman's, and we will get either raw liquor or we will get the cracked liquor. We could get the syrup. We could get molasses, you know, and it was a joy walking from a mile and a quarter Benn Hill. And I'm sure Ashton Hall, and we will go across to the factory at night, especially when the moon is shining. So those were the good crop days. Also, for those of us who live near the road, we knew all the trucks by number, because they had Ebreth had trucks, and they were all TK Bedfords. So we knew Nicholas trucks. You know, it's amazing that all they have the same TK engine, but we knew 149 from 112, from E12, from E60 to 124, to 142, E428, E22. And we knew all the drivers, because the fellas had they were not automatic trucks, automatic transmissions. They were, you know, and the fellas used to like to tease the clutch. And we knew who, we was sitting in our house and saying, oh, that's Horny. Oh, that's Joe Brute. That's Duke C. That's Jacob truck coming on the road, that S9. That's Bo Watson. We knew all the truck drivers, we knew all the names. And the truck sounded, you could tell a truck. And that was excitement for us as boys growing up there. Growing up, all of us went to All Saints Boys School. Most of us went to All Saints Boys School up the hill. The guys in Indian Ground, they had the Indian Ground school, but some of them from French Village would come across on Fort Hill, came across the gully to the All Saints Boys. I went to school at All Saints Boys in '53. I can remember all of my teachers that taught me. When I was in the infants department, a guy called Briggs, he's now deceased, he taught me. And then King Edwards taught me. And Clifford Jordan, who's Colin Jordan's father, he taught me infant B. King Edwards taught me in class 1. Wilfred Gilts taught me in class 2. Darrell Jordan taught me in class Gilts taught me in class 2, Jordan in class 3, and Radcliffe Hinkson prepared me for, in class 4 for what at that time was the screening tests. That was, the visit now the 11 plus, you know. And I can remember none of the boys that were in my class, you know, Vince C, Tompy. I remember some of the boys that used to sit with us, you know, and growing up in Ben Hill, we had a lot of boys growing up in Ben Hill. Some of them boys grew up in Ben Hill, Rosehill, Minor Court, Ashton Hall. That every opportunity we got, especially now coming up with Easter, when Easter holidays coming up, we will do like athletics in the area. We were going to the Reverend Yard, set up, and we would cut down 2 posts, fairly sturdy, and then cut a long one like for a clamatory tree. Get some nails and put it in it. We do long jump, high jump. We do high jump. We do 100 yards. We will run around the church for our long distance running. But most importantly, we played cricket. We used to play what we call test cricket. And we would play cricket up in the quarry, rough ground. But Rosehill boys will have a team and Ben Hill will have a team. We play Ben Hill against Rosehill. We play Rosehill against Mullinan Quarter. We play Mullinan Quarter against Ashton, and we played at different venues. We played in Manor's Gully. We played by the road there in Ben Hill. We played out in the quarry, you know, and then the bigger men on Sundays will play in the Ben Hill Gully. That was where all the fellas like Tony Lord and Slammer and those guys would play. Also, they had a BCL team that played up the hill in Whitehall Hill, and played BCL cricket up there. And I say that to say this because in those days playing on rough ground, playing on areas where you had to play cricket, you had to play shots. When the ball coming at your foot, you had on no pads, so you got to be able to flick. You have to drive off the front foot and thing. Nowadays the fellas playing cricket now got headgear, arm gear, and tie pads, balls gear, all kind of stuff. So they dress up like they're going to the army, they're going to war. You know, so if a ball comes and they can do like that and get hit, they ain't going to play in a shot, right? So that very cricket is not as exciting as it was before. You know, and I mentioned the cricket earlier. We had a way of selecting our team. If you're playing mixed match, you're the captain, and I'm a captain. And you hear the fellas get together, around your captain, fellas around you one. That's to select yourself. Around your captain, around you one. So you select your captain. And then you choose, I select this guy, and the fellow will select another guy. So alternatively you select, so that everybody, so you look for your stronger fellas first. And that was the kind of language that we used when we were playing cricket. We didn't have any gear. We had using a net ball. We had the cords would be strong. You get some cloth, and you get a nail, and you wrap the cord around the nail, and you keep pulling to make it firm. And then after that, you would put some leather. You get a old bicycle tube, and you cut it and you wrap it around. We play cricket that way. But then after that, you will graduate towards buying a rubber line compa, rubber line. It was not as hard as the ball. When I first playing cricket with the nut ball, you get you scared because nut ball used to be a firm, hard nut ball. Hit you hard, on your foot if you miss the ball. With the rubber line compa, and then we moved to the regular cricket ball. But that over a period of time. The bat, coconut tree, you cut down coconut tree and you shape it. Or you go down to the shop and get a barrel, an old barrel that salt meat or something come in, and you take the thing off the barrel and you shape the handle that can hold it, and you play bat with that. Some other fellas that are very, very creative will go in the calamansi tree on a fairly big limb, and you chop the limb down, and you come down and you take a knife and a machete and you shape it out, and you shape the handle, and you have a calamansi. And that used to last longer than the barrel bat, and it will last longer than the bat out of the coconut tree, you know. But then some other guys later on, as we got bigger and older, and some fellas' father and parents go overseas, they will get the father will bring back a cane bat. You get the ball bat, but we used to be very concerned with the ownership of the ball and bat, because I know of a guy who, when you get him out, and he feel like he ain't out, he gone with his bat and ball. And so you got to leave bat again. you had to let him bat again, you know. But then the other thing is that when we were playing good cricket, then we will maybe if you know a match is coming up, you got to go down to Noah Roach and buy a ball for $1.10. Noah Roach will sell cricket balls, and each of us will put a 10 cent, and we will get together and buy. So we graduated out of knit ball and rubber with the bicycle tire into a harder ball. We had no gloves, we had no pads, but we played cricket. And most of our fellas, we play cricket. We produced some very good cricketers out of Ben Hill, Rose Hill. But we had exciting days playing cricket, growing up as boys. And it was also important that we had a number of shops in our district. Well, up in Ben Hill, we had Miss B, and we had Miss Herbert. They used to sell from their house, little confectionaries and stuff. But they survived. And the shops never closed down. And you come down the road and you go by Papa's. Papa's would sell bread, fresh bread. And you had Murphy. Murphy was a regular shop. We sell everything. Kenrick Small shop was there. You go across Rose Hill and you get Jordan. This is Clifford Jordan, Colin Jordan's grandfather. And then Brick Harvey set up a shop a little further across the road. You come down there and you have Braffett shop. He was also a grocery store. And then you got Boozer Smith. And all the shops had their own customers, and they all survived. And I remember many times, I forget Oliver shop. Coming down Ben Hill, not far from where I live, Oliver shop would sell a lot of things like rum and beers and drink. But in the vacation, we will all play. We knew when the bread van, J&R bread van coming. It used to come on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So if we can play cricket, we will play cricket near there. Because we will hear the bread van come, and we will get some free, we call it stale bread. Today it's called yesterday's fresh. And we will play cricket with him, and the fellas will give us bread, and we will eat bread and drink water. or in the crop season, you always had sweet water, you always had swank, you always had the syrup, and there were always limes, you know. So we never starved, we never struggled. And nowadays I hear people talking a lot about the non-communicable diseases and the diabetes and stuff. We eat a lot of sugar, a lot of things. You can syrup, molasses. But we used to work it off. We used to work it off, you know. Then I mentioned the crop season and the trucks. And when the cane field is finished cutting, the boys and the girls, we had some excitement doing what we call mashing trash. Yeah, because the cane cutters never cut all the canes out of the field. They always had some pieces left, and we would mash trash. When you mash trash in the field, there you organize it, and you take it out, and you go home with it. That was another exciting time, mash trash. There was a time when the crop season would finish. Oh, and by the way, when the crop season is coming to an end, everybody, we all knew, because every one of the trucks will dress up with flowers. Every truck, flowers, and we knew that the season, that today is the last day. There wasn't anything called crop over at the time. But the trucks will come, you will see E124, E142, E60, and on that last day of the crop. And not every plantation finished at the same time. Right? Not everyone finished at the same time, but when they're finishing, you would see them dress up the truck with some red and white flowers that used to grow wild. And the fellas would have all those decorated the truck, and we knew that today is the end of the crop for them. In the other crop season, our parents worked in the field. My father he used to cut something called soft stone, which is nowadays the limestone. And Jacob and Esau and S9. And I had a man that used to supervise him called Moore. He had a one leg, so we referred to him as 1 foot Moore. But he was the supervisor, and he was the one that would measure the soft stone. You had 3x2s, 3x4, and those trucks. A lot of buildings in Barbados are built out of those soft stones. You know, I suspect nowadays you hear a lot of them, a lot of the buildings now have mildew and all that kind of stuff. But most of the building was done using that soft stone. And that will be during the other season. And they will cut soft stone from the end of the crop right down through the December. Right down through the December. And that was when we get the marl. That marl, I don't know if you young fellas don't know about the marl now, but we used to get the marl that we can spread in front of the house and around the yard at Christmas time. So while the people in England dreaming of a white Christmas, we had a white marl. And it used to be nice, beautiful marl that we can go up in the quarry. There was always enough. And the fellas, like young fellas, 13, 14, 15, we would bring marl for ourselves at home, and then bring marl for some elderly people, and get a little 5 cents. And 5 cents would bring some marl, and that 5 cents would help us to buy something called a rough top. Yeah, I had a rock kit was 3 cents, but a rough top was 5 cents. A turnover was 3 cents. You know, and if you get a quart in your hand, you're good. I remember some of the so those guys like Ozzy and those Boss, and my father, and S9, my uncle. I mentioned Jacob, Durrich, and Esau, and all those guys that used to cut, and they used to dig soft stone. They left from early morning, and we will prepare breakfast with them. What you call it, breakfast. We used to have past 7, 8 o'clock. We heading towards the quarry. And then after that, we will come back home. My sisters and those, and all the other families will cook and carry food in the quarry. And sometimes when my old man sit down to eat food, depending on what stage he got to in his cutting, we will take this thing called a wedge, and we will take this drill and wedge out that soft stone that he has there. And then we will have to lift it out and then work out the marl and bring home the marl. In the off season, the women will work in the fields. Some men work in the fields too, digging. In those days, there were cane holes. The women will work planting slip, raking up trash. In those days, you have, as the crop season finish, you will rake up trash and form a trash heap, and that ground will be plowed, planted, and then the women will then spread back down the trash. Nowadays, the tractors and everything work the trash into the earth, you know, which is, I suspect, is equally good or maybe even better. The ladies will do a lot of what they call hard time work. They planted yam. Yam will be planted, the crop season will run till about end of April, early May, but yam was planted in May. And you might ask me why, but that was a tradition. You spell May backward and you get yam. And traditionally, the yams were planted in May. Anybody plant yam after that was a bit late. And we will know about the different kinds of yams. There was the horn yam. That used to be a long yam like a horn. But when you're harvesting that yam, you had to dig all around it. You couldn't go down. If you're digging on the Oriental or even the crop Lisbon, they will bunch. So you can dig around and lift. But the horn yam, you have to dig deep, otherwise you're gonna break it off, and it would go right down into the ground. There was a situation where, by law, you could not harvest the crop Lisbon before January. By law, we don't have in crop Lisbon like we have now. We had hundreds of acres of crop Lisbon yams, and that was a very nice, soft yam. And I remember in the 70s, when the BADMC under Camita Fraser used to have this thing called yam flakes. Used to take that and the fresh yam and organize it. Later on in my life, when I started to work, we used to export yam, but we'll come to that. But as boys growing up, I would go in the ground and help my brother who used to work at Pleasant Hall, and my mother worked at Ebroth. We would go and help them plant slip. You go and you cut, you have a field of potatoes, you clip the slip, you know how to clip it, and you came and you plant it. Some people will just drop the slip and move, and people will follow up by planting. You know, a fellow one just have to take it's like cane hold, like cane plants too. Just drop them. In those days, and somebody follow through and just put them in the ground. They knew how to put them in the ground. There was an art in planting slip. There was an art in planting cane. You plant slip. Slip could be planted any time of the year. Cane, you plant fresh canes in October, November. You select a field of canes, and you guys will cut the cane, and you know something called an eye, and they knew how to cut the canes. And we would get a lot of cane chops, and we would plant the canes. And those canes that are planted in October, November, perhaps even in December, if they were planted 2022 last year, they'll be ready for 2024. Yeah, 15 months, right? They were ready for the crop that will always start in January. So you plant October, November, December, 2022. And they will spring up, and depending, of course, on the level of rainfall, they will do well. And then they will grow right through, get the joints, and be ready for the 2024 season. And we knew a lot of the names by number, named a number of the canes. When you will hear about the girl, I feel a cane we used to call the pretty girl. That was the cane that, when the plantation got pretty girl planted, the watchmen used to be busy. because the fellas will, especially the pretty girl plant in the center of the field, and it was a soft cane. You could take it and hit it and twist it and get cane juice from it. Not like today's cane. Today's cane is very, very hard and less juice. But in those days we had the 171, the 119. All those are the different, and those cane used to grow long and slanted. So you had to cut top, something middle and then bottom. So if you cut top and middle or near the bottom, that's where we get mastrash, because you ain't got the bottom, you know. But then after a guy called Colin Hudson, he invented the cane harvester. We moved from those twisted canes and into what we call the chopstick to accommodate the machine, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. So a lot, you pass through Barbados now, you see all or 99% of the canes are straight canes. And they look hard. You can't, in those days, you could suck, what you call eat cane. You peel cane even with your mouth. You can't risk that now, man. Cane's too hard. And they don't have as much juice. This means that the sucrose content is not as great as it used to be. So the conversion of cane, sugar, the cane to sugar was not, it's greater than it is now. I suspect in those days we used to do about 9 tons of sugar for a ton of, 9 tons of cane for a ton of sugar. I think it's about 12. You know, but the canes in those days were sturdy, nice, long cane. But technology and advancement, so you change your cane. A lot of canes, a lot of people don't know that many of the canes that we grew in Barbados were done up there in St. George with the cane breeding station. As a matter of fact, that was one of these areas that Barbados was very, very proud of. It was a cane breeding station, and it not only produced planting material for Barbados, it provided planting material for other countries in the Caribbean as well. The cane breeding station, I think it is still in operation. I'm not so sure, it should be still there, up there by Groves in St. George. And one of the beauties of seeing canes is when around November, October, when the canes are really telling you that they're ready, you will see the cane arrows. Looking so beautiful and dancing in the wind, you know. And at November time, we will get the arrows and use as our fireworks. We ain't had enough pretty fireworks like you all fellas have now. You got these rockets and the thing. We used to make our own fireworks. We had a fella that lived in Benn called Oliver Headley. A very intelligent fella. He made his own rockets. He made his own starlights, his own bombs. But we had those good days. There was very little violence, if any. Occasionally, a fella would pelt a rock at a fella, and there would be an occasional fight. But the fights, the lead up to the fights, were long enough that you could break up the fight. A fella would tell you, I better not touch me. And the fella feel that he more strong, he more ignorant than the other fella, would touch him. And the fella said, touch me again then. You know, touch me again then. And the fella would touch you again then. And before the fight would start, somebody would step in. Because I know that not leading up to a fight, you know.
Interestingly enough, there is a lesson in that for us today. Someone immediately stepped in and was able to bring a potentially contentious situation to an end, or diffuse it, as it were. Or that today's generation would follow the fine example set by Haynesley Benn and his colleagues of yesteryear. I'm Sherwood McCaskey. The series continues next week at the same time. In the meantime, be good to yourself and look out for the interests of your neighbors.